Hello, I am back with another video, and today I wanted to speak on depolarization. What does that mean? It's essentially about removing your energetic attachment to situations, circumstances, beliefs, so the flow can flow more freely. Divine love can flow more freely through you, and you can allow circumstances in your life instead of trying to force or control an outcome. I've been really caught up in striving and forcing and things in my life, and practicing this has kind of just happened through circumstances where I've actually been forced to do it. But I'll talk about that later. But the first thing I wanted to say was that non-attachment doesn't mean non-love. So when you're holding something that you want, energetically, emotionally, in your consciousness, in your vibration, doesn't mean that you don't love it. It means non-grasping, it means non-holding, it means non-clinging. It means that it's almost like a surrender, like you're holding something in your hand, but you're not closing your hand, you're just holding it gently in your hand. Depolarization, like I said, is you're taking the emotional or energetic charge out of a situation. Sometimes when we either get things that we really want, or we don't want to lose something, either or, we can close our fist metaphorically and really hold on, and that creates resistance. And it actually charges I believe it charges the other end of the emotional pole. So you're almost creating more resistance to what you don't want. So in order for the divine love to flow more freely, we can let go of resistance or fear by emotionally accepting its equivalent. And I don't mean dwelling at all, just mean emotionally accepting that as one possibility of many. So usually we have lots of different fears, and that's why we can attach on. We can have fear of loss, fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of rejection. There's a really good video called Outwitting I think it's 6 or 7 basic fear devils that Napoleon Hill talks about. And most humans have a core group, if you like, of fears. And these fears make us cling onto things. And these things are usually outside our control. So there's actually no point in trying to hold on anyway. For example, you get the person you want, you get the house you want, you get the job you want. That thing, potentially you losing that thing, is out of your control. Likewise, you don't want to lose your health or your life, or you've got lots of money and you don't want to lose that. Again, you can only do what is within your own locus of control, and beyond that, it really makes no rational sense to even think about it. Obviously, it's one possibility of a multitude, but by dwelling in it, that's when you're giving it the emotional charge. So, fear of death is probably one of the biggest that we can have an extreme resistance to, and I would like to share my experience with that. I've had a couple of near misses, car crash and a very serious illness when I was in Asia, but last year I had to face it again. I was hospitalised with what doctors believed at the time was a MI, so a myocardial infarction, or heart attack as it's commonly known. I spent a very long time in almost like a state of emotional suspension, so I didn't know if I was going to live or die. I knew from previous times that the more I resisted, the greater my suffering would be, and it's not something that's even in my control. So I emotionally accepted that this could be my time. As a thought, all I could do in that moment is everything that was within my power to do at the time, everything that was in my locus of control, so calming myself down with essential oils, writing out my funeral arrangements. Once I'd done that, I completely let go, because there was nothing more that I could do. Thankfully, it was eventually found not to be an MI some weeks or months later, but that was a real spiritual test for me to, again, third time, to go into something that was incredibly scary and release the charge around it. And my life has shifted profoundly since then. And what I've realised is, if you know that you are doing everything that you can do within your means, within your capability, within your locus of control, your free will, then we don't actually have to be attached, and we can release the attachment to things. And quite often when we have a fear, like a strong attachment, a fear of loss comes up, or a fear of ill health, or a fear of rejection, or a fear of old age, whatever those are, those fears, it's a really good opportunity to work with your beliefs and look at the thought patterns that are coming up for you, and look at where your mind goes, and ask yourself, is this really true, or is it just one possibility? And can I emotionally accept it if it were true? We really have control over certain aspects, but we're guided by a much larger force of nature, essentially. So it is a lot about letting go and accepting the alternative. I was listening to Joseph Rodriguez's video yesterday, and he talked about when he was in conversation with someone, he realised that he had a belief that he had to, the other person had to validate him. He had to feel okay, he had to be accepted. And he just accepted the opposite. And, once you accept the opposite, and we know that we're complete inside, from all the teachings, we're complete inside. So we don't actually need anything. We have everything within us. And once we dwell in that place, we dwell more and more in divine love, and go within more and more and access those resources within, and that deep feeling of peace and trust and serenity. It can be easier and easier to let life flow through us, a bit like electricity. I hope this helps.